Samsung have come a long way from their mediocre plastic-backed phones. They first introduced the concept of a curved glass screen with a no edge, then came the S6 Edge that curved both sides, then the S7 Edge. Well, now I feel they've perfected that design. This is my S7 Edge review. So I absolutely love this design, and how can't you? This phone is very similarly sized to last year's S7 Edge, but now comes with a 1440 by 2960 5.8 inch screen, and it's able to keep that same size because of its tiny bezels, with the phone now having a 83.6 screen to body ratio. This meant that there weren't space for buttons, more on them later, with the fingerprint sensor now living at the back right next to the camera. Moving back to the front, Samsung hasn't removed anything at the top of the phone. Yes, even the notification LED is still there, even though I don't think it's necessary with the always on display being as good as it is. They have also added an iris scanner at the top too that I've tried but haven't stuck with. I use the face unlock feature instead. Yes, I know that if people try hard enough they can use a picture of me to unlock it, but the thing is, people finding it on the street aren't going to know whose phone it is. And before they do, I'll probably would have remotely locked it anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. There's also a toggle for fast screen unlock that is supposed to be more secure too. The thing is that face unlock is just way too convenient and works extremely fast. Whereas I find iris scanning is quite slow most of the time. You have to move your phone around to get your eyes in the right place. I lock and unlock my phone a lot when I'm not holding it, so this would just be way too inconvenient for me. I remember that face unlock used to be pretty slow in the past too, but now it's blazing fast, so I hope that the same sort of improvements happen to iris scanning, so that it speeds up over time too. You can also have the fingerprint scanner enabled alongside either the face or the iris scanners, and I actually found that it wasn't as inconvenient as I thought it would be to use. I mean, it is a lot worse than phones like the LG G6 that had it, well, where it should be if it's on the back of the phone, but I didn't actually get it mixed up with the camera as much as I thought I would do. The fingerprint scanner area is around half the width of the camera, and I can feel the border around it, so I do know if I'm touching the lens or the fingerprint scanner. I've also got my left hand registered too, so I do sometimes just use that finger to unlock it instead of using my right hand, because it can sometimes be a bit of a stretch, depending on how I'm holding the phone. I mostly find myself using the fingerprint scanner for purchases, as well as to unlock apps like 1Password. As well as when it's too dark for the face scanner to work, although it can actually see when it is pretty dark, but it does sometimes take a bit longer. One bit of hardware that I've never used, other than when I accidentally press it, is the Bixby Button. So I don't have a problem with it being there most of the time. I never really get it mixed up with the power button or anything. I'm also not too bothered about not being able to rebind it because I would have just binded it to the camera anyway, but you can activate that by double pressing the power button. But the thing is that I just never use it. So I'm not really its target audience. I imagine it's more trying to target people that use Google Now that I never use. It is basically just Samsung's Google Now. It just shows things like available themes, the newest gallery image, and the weather. The thing is that I've got a weather widget on my home screen, so I don't really need another one. And I don't really need to see my newest gallery image because I know where it is already. And I'm quite happy with my theme, so I don't really need to change that. Talking about themes, yes, I've actually changed it on this phone, hence why things look a bit different. So if you don't know what themes are, they change the look of places like your notification center, the settings app, keyboard, as well as your wallpapers, although I have changed them over to this slightly animated one from the Samsung themes area within settings. Here you can download new themes, wallpapers, icon packs, and always on displays, which basically add pictures and change the look of the words on the screen slightly on your always on display. Within the wallpapers section are these animated wallpapers called infinity wallpapers. They're called that because they basically are just animated wallpapers that also change the look of your always on display. They do make for a nice effect though. I love the look of this wallpaper on the always on display with its subtle blue spilling over the curved edges. It looks stunning. It's not just stunning though, it's also particularly good functionally. You can double tap on any of the notification icons to open them up in their app. Can double tap on the clock to go to this screen where you can switch between your music controls, calendar, and whatever other widgets you set within settings. At the bottom there's the home button that you can use to unlock the phone by either double tapping it or pressing down relatively hard on it. Yes, the home button is now pressure sensitive and for good reason. Usually with on-screen buttons, if you're using an app in full screen, you have to swipe the navigation buttons in to use them. But now you can just press hard on the area where the home button usually is, and it will send you home even if the navigation buttons aren't on the screen. I also feel like this is a good way for people who are used to physical home buttons to move over to the on-screen buttons. Yes, it doesn't feel exactly like the home button being pressed because obviously the screen isn't moving down, but it does give a quick little vibration that does emulate it a little bit. This isn't the only feature that made me think that Samsung have really worked hard to polish up this phone and put the user fully in control. There's other little things here and there, from having the option to choose which Samsung app you want to have installed from the setup screen, to asking you if you want Bluetooth headphones to affect the phone's volume. And talking about Bluetooth, this phone has Bluetooth 5.0, meaning that it can connect to two devices at the same time, which it handles perfectly. You can enable dual audio from the prompt that comes up or via the settings menu. In my testing, these weren't perfectly in sync, so you may want to use this more for two Bluetooth headphones rather than two Bluetooth speakers, although your results may vary. Other great little features include the great looking notifications and notification ring around the screen edges, to the smart switch feature that lets you move everything from your old phone over to the S8, although it didn't work at all on my for my OnePlus 3T, but I think this was more of an issue of the OnePlus 3T not wanting to cooperate more than the phone not working. This phone also automatically scales up apps to fit the screen, something that the LG G6 didn't do for some reason. The back-facing camera might not have changed, but it's already a great camera. The pictures look great as you'd expect, and autofocus is just as fast as it was on the S7 Edge. The front-facing camera has improved a lot though. It's now 8 megapixels up from 5 megapixels, it has autofocus, and can record at Quad HD at 30 frames per second. There's also Bixby vision on both the front and back cameras. This works kind of okay, it can find some products but not others. Everything with it is really just hit and miss. They really have a lot of improvements to make before I'd consider relying on it. As for different modes, there's all the usual ones that you'd expect. There's virtual shot that isn't virtual reality like what the G6 could do. Instead, it's this thing for seeing an object from all sides. Don't really see the use in that at all. The front-facing camera has this wide selfie option though that's pretty nice and works pretty well. I could see myself using that in certain situations. Within games, all of which run perfectly fine in this device as you'd expect, there's actually this thing called Game Tools. This is basically a menu that you can open up from this button on the navbar to give you these options for enabling or disabling full screen, which is basically scaling it to fit the phone, to recording the game screen. This is also closely linked to the game launcher that is basically a folder that automatically groups all of your games. That's good in itself, but it also has these handy options at the bottom. I for one appreciate the open muted option in case I forget to turn the phone volume down before I launch a game. I haven't noticed any slowdowns within games, but if you want more or less performance to save or use up more battery life, you can adjust that here, and to the left blocks all notifications other than phone calls within games. I was also pleasantly surprised with the launcher and keyboard. This is actually the first time that I stuck with the default launcher and keyboard for a phone. The G6 came close with its keyboard, but the S8 ticks all the boxes and works really well. It's got all the features that I want and looks pretty good under the theme that I'm using. The launcher is also really good too. It's not perfect with it automatically adding new apps to the home screen that I don't like, and it not having the option to infinitely scroll like the Nova launcher does. But it is still a very solid launcher. Apps are accessed from a swipe either up or down. The search is great and will search within apps as well as for apps. The animations are also great. I can't be the only one that loves swiping up continuously on the home screen. And I was also really happy when this just worked. When you swipe down on the fingerprint scanner, it pulls down the notification center. This should really be the standard on every phone with a fingerprint sensor. I just don't get why the G6 didn't do it. So that's pretty much everything there is to this phone. It is without a doubt the best phone that I've ever used. It just feels so polished and refined. And its design is just so good that other than moving the fingerprint sensor and maybe the addition of another camera to be used for zooming like on the G6 or on the iPhone 7 Plus, there isn't really much that I can think of for them to improve. Before I finish, let's move away from the phone and talk about the AKG earphones. So, by the way, these headphones are only tuned by AKG, they're not actually made by them, but they do sound really good and feel really good in your ears. Did they sound $99 good? Not really, but these are most definitely great for free earphones, and are ones that you don't have to worry about replacing, and you probably won't need to upgrade them for a long time. Overall, they sound good for highs, mids and lows, they don't distort at high volumes, and are really comfortable to wear. One complaint that I have though is that sometimes it's hard to find the button that you want on the volume controls, but other than that they work perfectly fine. So that's it for the review. What do you think about this phone, the SA? Be sure to leave your comments down in the comment section down below, and be sure to give this video a like if you liked it and subscribe to see more videos. So I'm going to be having 2 weeks off if you didn't see the previous video that I put out, the little update, but I'm going to be coming back afterwards with some more content, so be sure to subscribe for that. But yeah, for now, I'll see you all in the next video. Hope you have a great day. Bye.